I'm Dai and I'm from Dawn. So I'm here with the wonderful Ann Tomlinson from Alium Works. Considering with what's happening in the coronavirus COVID-19 climate at the moment, I thought I'll ask Ann to come along and actually share with us the work that Alium Works have been doing in terms of taking the business online. But before we start there, I'd like to get Ann to share with us a bit about her background and tell us about, how you're involved in terms of your business in the rail and infrastructure space.
Well, I actually started my rail career about 18 years ago in the UK, funnily enough. Now, when I left South Africa, you can detect a bit of a South African accent there. When I actually left South Africa in 2003, I actually left with a psychology degree. Never used it. Never thought I'd ever have to use it either. Then went to the UK, and it was so funny how I actually ended up in the UK. I went there because I lost a bet.
A bet?
Yeah, a bet. And I can't remember what the bet was, but the bet was I never wanted to leave South Africa. I felt at the time there was so much to see in South Africa. Why do I need to go abroad? Anyway, I lost the bet, and all of a sudden one day I found myself at Heathrow Airport. No job, no money, no place to stay. And it was a bit of a, what am I going to do, So anyway, long story short, did a couple of odd jobs here. And the plan was then to do a bit of work for 6 months and then travel. I stayed for 9 years.
Oh.
And only traveled twice. But in that period, in that 9 years period, I actually just fell into safety and fell into the rail industry. And I'll tell you what, since joining the industry, I joined a family. It wasn't just a career. This was a community where people reached out to you and people were really invested in your personal development. Yes, there were some hard times along the way, some challenges for especially females coming into the industry. Now, the rail industry can only be described as incestuous.
It's pretty male-dominated too, isn't it?
Absolutely, male-dominant. But you either marry your way in or you're born into it. So for somebody who's just come over from South Africa, it's got absolutely no rail background, and then walk into this position, there was a lot of resistance initially, and mainly because it was male-dominant. And I really had to put in the hard yards, and I did. And I look back now and I feel like it was a positive journey, despite some of the obstacles that I faced. But then fast forward again, I was actually headhunted by a company from Australia while I was in the UK, and they actually brought me over to Australia in 2011. And I've done a couple of major projects, flagship projects in Australia. But then after I had my first and only child, I decided I wanted to go solo, started my own consultancy business. But through that consultancy business, I recognized the need to bring in young people and to really expand on that diversity piece. And from that, the Alium Works brand was born.
And what is the main focus of Alium Works at the moment for you?
So initially, our pilot program was really about bringing in cadets. So bringing in young people who's just come out of university, who's really struggling to find their place in the working world. So there's so many great organizations out there, but they expect people to start with 10 years experience when they've just come out of school. And basically our program was the conduit between, upskilling them. So essentially the Alium Works program basically gives you about equivalent of 3 years working experience just in 12 months because of the intensity of that program. But the thing is that even though we're running these cadetship programs, when we run campaigns, recruitment campaigns, we attract circa 1,200 applicants per campaign. And sometimes we only have one role to fill, and sometimes we have 6 roles to fill. But there's so many other people who go away disheartened because they didn't get the opportunity to get into the cadetship program. So people actually started writing to us and said, well, if I can find my own job, can I have access to your trainers and your mentors? And from that, our pathway program was born. And that's really our main business stream currently.
And so how does it work? So is it you've got clients who would come to you, like from the rail and infrastructure network, and say, look, we've got this certain number of roles, and can you train these cadets up to then send up the pipeline to our organization?
Yeah, certainly. So each client will have a different criteria and requirement, and depending on what they need, we'll actually custom build that program around them. But generally speaking, it's members of the public that are actually coming to us and saying, look, I'm stuck in a rut. I really want to upskill, but I'm just not getting exposure to that technical masterclasses and skill set. How can you help me? So we actually take them through that whole program. But then we also have our corporate memberships where corporate companies are coming to us and saying, I've got a group of new people that's just started. We have capacity. We don't have time to train them. Can you take them under your wing? And we funnel them back into the Pathway program as well.
And so, so obviously with that kind of work, you are, we talk about, in the light of the COVID-19 and everybody's now being forced to shift to work online or look at ways to deliver training, mentoring online, and even working online. How are you set up for that?
I feel like every cloud has a silver lining, and this is it for us. So we've actually, because we wanted to scale our business in 2018, we knew that at the time it was very operational heavy, and we couldn't actually introduce the touch points that we wanted for our community. So we decided to take all of our masterclasses online. So we've been doing it for the last 2 years. So basically our masterclasses run every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, either through a couple of different platforms. And our guys get sent a link to register. They register their details and they come onto the masterclass. So causing minimal disruption to their life and lifestyles.
So with we were talking about before, like with you trying to take this opportunity now to create a series of masterclass, and this is for the public, or is it specifically for people who have got an interest in rail and infrastructure? Like, what would these masterclasses offer to those audience out there, who might be listening to us?
The masterclasses that we've traditionally run was for job seekers and people who were trying to upskill. But considering what's happening out there right now with COVID-19, we wanted to do something for the community as well. And there's so many small organizations, small businesses who's never done online video conferencing. They just don't even know what it is. They don't understand the concept of it. You get a lot of tradie companies who they're so used to that FaceTime with their clients and being out in the trenches that they've sort of not quite forgotten, but sort of parked the technical side of stuff. And with this masterclass that we're proposing, it's a 5-day masterclass series. We just want to introduce some basic tech that we can help them to stay in touch with their community, stay in touch with their clients, how to create more touch points with their employees as well. Because right now, connectivity is so important. People are going to get disconnected with being in isolation, basically.
I was going to ask, what other challenges for small businesses, like you mentioned, tradies, people who are, solo business owners who've always gone out there visiting, door knocks and visiting their clients and carrying on or delivering their service. What do you see as some of the challenges for small businesses run like that?
You can still continue to have that FaceTime with your clients. The only difference is you're not going to be door knocking. You're going to be sending them a link to say, I'm on a video conference right now. Let's connect via the internet. And this is how we can maintain that connectivity. So with a couple of tips and tricks, it's not that you don't have to be tech savvy to be able to do this. Anybody can do this.
So we are, so Dawn and Alium Works will be looking at doing a 5-day masterclass series, covering all of these different areas that Anne has mentioned. So if you are interested to find out more about this masterclass, do click on the link below and, send in, express an interest and register your name and details, and we will send you the details of when the class will be on. And also, maybe pose a question to Anne in terms of how she has run her online business for the last 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Look forward to seeing you.